Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War Stonesong Eyrie faction as of the new Deep Delve. So, the Stonesong Eyrie is a brown-yellow faction that is associated to that of Suncrest. Suncrest now reaches 26 stars as of the addition of the new troop. As far as the new Deep Delve variant is concerned, it is actually very similar to the previous variant, except now with dead ends, and those dead ends are now treasure rooms. So you basically want to go down all the other paths in multiplier order, then take all the treasure rooms last. I noticed this one was also treasure room, not sure if it's always over there, however, it should be pretty easy then to just always go by multiplier order, go for the ones that are really high, go for all the ones descending then, and then go for all of the treasure rooms that have the higher gold amount there, and just take those out, and you're good to go. So overall, pretty straightforward layout. Honestly, probably even more straightforward than the standard layout. As far as the standard layout is concerned, as you can see, it's pretty similar. If we go over here to the mode itself, it's just, the same pathways. It's just their multipliers a little bit different, and you normally take it from the inner and then work your way outwards in multiplier order, starting all the way from here and then going and branching outwards to the other two sides. Whereas the other one is basically as multiplier order and then save all the treasure rooms for last. As if I'm not mistaken, I don't believe the default layout has any guarantee treasure rooms, unlike the other one that seems to have about 2 to 3, which is pretty nice. Anyways, aside from that, we do have a new troop coming in. Unfortunately, that new troop is not viable for the pure faction at all. It deals a bunch of scatter true damage, and if there's a storm, it deals double. It's not really anything too high. There's already insta-kill, there's already infinite resummon, though in all fairness, it does have some resummon. And overall, it just doesn't really fit into the team, so it will not be used for the pure faction build. As far as completing the event, there are a couple ways that you can go about it. The first is just don't spend any gems at all, and just do the free battles. The second is to buy tier 3 and double blue orbit. This will give you the max troop. And the other one is if you still need the weapon, to buy tier 4 so that you can end up getting the weapon and then still also be able to double blue orbit. If you do happen to not spend any gems at all or happen to not get the troop, you will be able to get it in the future. It'll be available in 6 weeks from these portals right over here. As you can see right here, though, it is currently not in drop table, but in about 6 weeks from now, it will be in this drop table, so you can go get it then if you happen to not get it this weekend. Aside from that, let's go and start getting into a bunch of teams now. So as far as teams that can be ran here, if we go all the way to the top here, I have 2 low rarity ones, 2 higher rarity ones, and of course the good old pure faction team. So starting from the top, we have ourselves a guards avatar team. Basic premise with this is you go with the first slot that doesn't block them on mana. Whatever weapon you have is fine. You can even go mountain crusher if you happen to not have any of them, and then you just go guards avatar Surquet and Headley combo. Basically, Harpy Mage is a turn to empower with 75% mana start. While having enchant, by the second turn, she will have guaranteed full mana unless you get your mana drained somehow, in which case you'll be able to go get your Brown Storm as well as a bunch of mana accumulation. This will then give Guard's Avatar all the damage it needs, or all the mana it needs to do all of its damage, which boosts based on armor. It's basically like Rowan, but different colors. And Surquet and Hadley gives them 50% mana start, and can also be used to clean up if they happen to summon or anything similar. Just cast them after that, and it can easily kill out any one unit that remains, and you'll be able to also double tap them while also having skull spam, so they're generally going to die to that. As far as the lower rarity version, we have ourselves a good old finesse team. If you don't have Staff of Storms or Nimbus Bow, you can run pretty much anything there that mana accumulates. But you have to run Stormcaller Hero class with Yellow Storm. The Yellow Storm is the main thing that puts this together, as this guy needs Yellow Storm to function. He ends up dealing a bunch of damage to a random enemy, and if the enemy uses yellow, of which there are quite a few in this faction in both the first and final fight, he ends up doing double damage to them. And the biggest reason that he's actually usable is if there's a storm in play, which includes our Yellow Storm that we'll have, it gives 6 mana to all other allies, meaning you just keep spamming all 3 of the finesses over and over again, and they're pretty bulky, they don't tend to really die. So really good for surviving up there earlier on in the game. As far as the higher rarity range, we got ourselves the good old Catharix. He ended up coming in earlier this week on Monday, a new feature of 7.0. But yeah, he's going to be really good in restrictions that do not have, where you can't end up using Zolgoth. For example, this one, of course, is brown-yellow. So, of course, under a red, purple, blue Zolgoth, he cannot run under brown-yellow. But he can, so we basically have Zolgoth for every possible faction now. Obviously, with the Catharix covering the other half. But he's basically Zolgoth. He kills an enemy, similar to Zolgoth. He doesn't have the same skull spam, but he does have a lot of mana accumulation. He does have a pretty high miss rate with this, however, it is Fairy Fire cursed to the entire enemy team, which can be usable for some things. In this particular situation, we're actually using it for its curse with High King Iron Gut, so we can get our Devour. We're not really using the Fairy Fire that much, unless you count Angry Mob's little pokes here and there, but it's mostly being used for the curse and the insta-kill. So we still have the High King Iron Gut Zolgoth combo just with Catharix, basically. And we're still using Harpy Mage as the turn to empower, and Angry Mob's just here as a backup plan, so he has Resummon, and as a just standard Mass Destroy Mana Accumulator, similar to Thrall. Anyways, next we have ourselves the Low Rarity team. The Low Rarity team uses no Legends, no Mythics. It is also a weapon that's super obtainable. You just get this from super early on in the game, like by level 100, 200 or so, you'll have this just from going into Brown Mastery. And it's a full Construct team. It uses the Geomancer. I was going to say new Geomancer. I guess it technically is new. If I'm not mistaken, it is the newest hero class in the game. So, yeah, technically new hero class, even though it's been a while since this thing has come out. But anyways, Bone Golem, pretty nice. Anything that gains armor or durability plus attack tends to be pretty decent, unfortunately, in Underworld. Unfortunately, it does not gain barrier, but it does get some death marks, so occasionally you can just cheese some kills there. But you're mostly using it for its 50% score reduction, combined with the fact that it gains a durability stat plus attack, which is pretty nice. If that happens to die, you have Mountain Crusher, which will basically never die here. Geomancer gains barrier on Brown, so you can just keep doing that over and over again. It's also primarily used for its 50% Mana Star on all constructs, which not only makes this a 4x construct team, but also makes it 50% Mana Star across the entire board. Chalcedony is 99% of this team. You just keep casting her until you win. That is pretty much the entire premise. She creates infinite Brown for your entire team. And yeah, you'll have Brown Storm, so you truly have an infinite unless you get frozen or something, in which case you could send Cleanse Medals if you want. But otherwise, you just keep casting over and over and over again, and then you will eventually win. And Gargoyle's here mostly just for some damage pressure, especially if you're using your Bone Golem Medal. You gain some attack. This thing boosts ratios from all your attack, and it just does a nice little chunk of damage. You're probably not casting him as much, but you could be like a finisher, or if you know your Chalcedony won't end up landing on a given board, you could just simply go for the Gargoyle, then go for Chalcedony the following turn, since he does a small amount of board clear. Not a high amount, but since you'll probably have Brown Storm active from the Mountain Crusher, as it gets created Dust Storm off of one of its extra buff thingies, you can end up using that to make sure that you'll be able to just get a bunch of more Brown onto the board. And yeah, it works out pretty well. It's a little bit of slow damage, but it does have basically infinite damage, so it'll get you through if you don't have any of the higher rarity stuff. And as far as the Pure Faction team, pretty fun one. It's basically just Queen Zachi spam. However, Queen Zachi has an ability where it is a 35% chance to summon a Harpy Mage when matching for an extra turn. And of course, we could just simply use Harpy Mage. It still has its good mana accumulation aspect, still has Brown Storm, which we really need that Brown Storm because her extra explode that she has off her ability. But basically, we just get this up, cast it immediately. Ideally, on turn 1, you want to take Brown and then cast her on turn 2. Ideally, you don't want to take red or yellow the first turn because you're already going to be getting full mana on her anyways. And if you are going to take one or the other, definitely take yellow, as at least some of it bleeds into Queen Zachi. But you're mostly looking to take a Brown on the first turn, then cast Harpy Mage, and then basically spam Queen Zachi until you win. She does damage to all enemies, so unless they have Submerge, you should be good to go. And it also gets to explode 5 gems whenever there's a storm, which you should have in play due to Harpy Mage. And you can just keep doing that over and over again. And of course, if your Harpy Mage ever dies, which can happen, obviously it's not the most durable of things, but if it ever was to die, you simply just go keep resummoning it over and over again, and you're good to go. And if I'm not mistaken, oh yeah, you don't get to trigger that unless a lot of your team starts to die. But the Blade Wing does have insta-kill. It's another strategy you can run for the Pure Faction. It's normally slower, but if your stats were like really, really low, you could technically get away with like 3-4 Blade Wings. But one nice thing is if your team starts to die a bunch, you'll be able to start summoning these too. So very rare that you'll end up getting some of them, but it does have an insta-kill ability, which is the second alternative to winning. So if you are falling behind, you'll have an instant kill backup to go and win. The main thing that's annoying about this faction is more so the insta-kill on the enemy team. If they end up just killing you out too many times, that can end up being annoying. But with how much resummon you have and the fact that the player gains better resummon than the AI, due to the AI constantly coming in at a lower level, whereas you're always going to be coming in at level 20. So you'll be coming in at max durability, and they'll keep coming in at lower and lower levels. So you're at an advantage when it comes to summoning. And since this is a very summon-heavy battle, it's one of the other reasons why you tend to run Queen Zachi rather than the insta-kills. Because even though the insta-kills can be nice, you generally want to kill everything almost at the exact same time, which obviously AoE damage is pretty good at doing. And this is mostly because if you don't do that, it gives them more opportunity to resummon through all the various traits that there are within this kingdom. And it's just a good idea to try to do it all simultaneously to minimize any summoning that the opposing team can end up doing. Otherwise, you're basically starting the fight all over again. Every single time they just start mass summoning again. It can be very annoying, but as long as you kill them all simultaneously, it should be fine. But anyways, guys, that's a quick rundown on the good old Stonesong Eyrie. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Best of luck on the faction event this weekend, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye, everyone, and thanks for watching.